This is my 29-gallon freshwater planted aquarium, and I have made some changes in here since I last took video of it, and I think there's some pretty positive changes. I've certainly added, as you can see, some more plants. I've changed the aquascape almost completely since I last put a video of this up. The plants in here are primarily low-light plants. Some of these I got from Aquatic Jungles. I actually have a video where I took those out of the packaging, and they have turned out really nicely. One of my favorite plants in the tank right now is that really bright red Ludwigia in the center there. That's the plant with the red leaves up at the top, and that is from Dustin at Aquatic Jungles. I have been adding iron to this tank somewhat religiously, and it has really proved to make that nice shade of red, especially on the top leaves, so that adds something, for sure. One of the problems you can run into with a planted tank is that it is kind of a wash of green, so that pop of red right in the center really helps add something to the tank that you might not get with a typical planted tank with such a low-tech setup like this. My lighting is 65 watts. It's a Coralife fixture, and this is a 29-gallon tank, so a little over 2 watts per gallon. It supports the plants pretty well, especially given what I add to this tank. I'm not adding really complex supplements, but I add potassium, iron, and Flourish Excel, which is carbon. So there isn't any CO2 that is added to the tank with any of the CO2 tanks or methods that some people add to their planted aquariums. It's basically just the supplements, and I do have a dirt substrate, and I think that really helps nourish the plants. So in here, like I said, I think my favorite plant would be the Ludwigia. The floating plants, from left to right, are hornwort, the Ludwigia, which is high up but not really floating, and then on the far right, just kind of blurred by the light here, I have some water sprite that's growing up in front of one of the internal filters. So I'm running a internal filter of Fluval 2 Plus, which obviously is not enough to support this tank alone, and then I'm also running a AquaClear 50 on this. So it's got good filtration, which is important. The driftwood is one of my favorite parts. Actually, there's 5 pieces of driftwood in here. The sculpture on the right here is actually 3 pieces of driftwood put together, and then over here there's a piece of driftwood that's hidden by the grass down at the bottom, and then this is a nice large piece of driftwood. So I've got some really nice Anubias in here, and that's actually a much older plant that had started to put out leaves that were just decaying, so it was kind of disappointing. But then once I started to add potassium, I think that's the key. The leaves that are coming out are bright green, totally full, so I think I've gotten almost a leaf a week, especially on that plant right there, which is a really healthy Anubias. Barteri, I believe. This Anubias on the driftwood right here is Anubias nana, and then the 2 large are the Barteri. Up here is another Anubias. Both have really increased in health since I've been adding the potassium. In front here, I have this really nice piece of lace rock. Small, but I think it adds something to the front there. Just something to add to the hardscape instead of driftwood. And then I have cryptocorn along the front in some really nice color variations that you can't really see because they blend in with the gravel. There they are. My nice creaky tripod. In terms of fish, I have a school of 15 neon tetras, who I've had for a while now, and they're doing well, knock wood. A couple of autocats, that seems to be the most I can support, oddly enough. If I try to add more autocats, they end up dying. So I actually don't think that there's enough algae, enough of a food source in this aquarium to support as many autocats as I would think it could support. So the neons, the autocats, I have one leftover yo-yo or Pakistani loach. It's a fish of many names, who is a one-eyed and rather cognitively impaired fish. It's always laying on its side. Loaches are just weird. That's why I love them. I also have a coolie loach in here who is obviously quite reclusive. 3 lemon tetras who I have had for a long time. Again, knock wood. They were transferred over from when I had this as a 10-gallon live plant and then converted this tank. 3 red serpe tetras. Up top, I don't know if you can actually see them very well, because they don't have, there they are. I have 4 silver hatchetfish. Hatchetfish really like floating plants, so that was part of my motivation for adding them. I think that they really do well in this tank because of its setup. And then I might be forgetting something, but I think that's it for fish. And then I have some assorted ghost shrimp and some really beautiful cherry shrimp. Since I added the hornwort, the cherries especially have been hiding. But they are a gorgeous red. They are vibrant red. And all the cherry shrimp I've had over the years, these are by far the nicest. They really are little gems almost. And then, as I said, mostly low light plants. One of the things that I think really fills up this tank nicely is the water wisteria, which is in a few places. Really nice green leaves. Some assorted valves, and to mention one more thing before I sign off in this tank, I think this is really wild. I did not plant this cryptocorn here. Darn tripod. That seems to have grown there all on its own. I'm not sure how. There really isn't a crypt near there. I'm not sure of how cryptocorn propagates, but I thought that was pretty wild, and it just popped up in the driftwood, and it's gotten really big. So I think that's cool. That's one of the things that's fun about having a planted tank. It's kind of like a saltwater tank in that things just pop up. So it's wild. I think this is a really fun tank. I actually really enjoy having this. I think it's finally at a stage where I feel like I really think this is looking nice. There's a little cherry on there. I actually just added some new ones yesterday, so this one isn't quite the red gem I was talking about yet. I have to put some WD-40 or something on this tripod. Anyway, that is the 29-gallon live planted. I don't think I covered quite everything, but that's kind of a general overview of what I have running and what I have in here in terms of fish and plants. If there's anything you think it's lacking or any fish that you think would look really cool, then let me know. I'm always open to feedback, and I'm really enjoying this tank.